you made the move to television, and you, I know you mentioned it, the new VR in Barrie. You wore a lot of hats here. You were a production assistant, a news writer, a camera operator. And I think it's important to mention too that it was still pretty rare at this time to have women who were camera operators. So what was your experience like?
Um, Listen, my experience when I started at the New VR in Barrie was as a writer. And I developed incredible anxiety writing for the 6 o'clock news anchor. I couldn't write a tease. I froze. I couldn't get the words out. I couldn't do it. And I remember thinking, oh, I'm not cut out for this. Like but just the stress of him saying my words was just too much for me to bear. And I remember really having to push through that and push through that. And then I wanted to learn, like I learned a bit of camera at Fanshawe, but then, tech evolves and cameras were changing. So I would follow the cameramen after my shift, and one camera woman, I would ask them after my shift at 6 if I could go out with them on the night shift and learn how to shoot. So they taught me how to shoot. And then I started alongside with one of the cameras that was kind of broken. I would shoot alongside them to see if my video matched up to their video, if I could get it as good as theirs. And then when everyone would go home after the 11:30 newscast, I would sit and edit my piece together and see if I could get it to look like broadcast material. So I kept doing that and kept doing that and kept doing that. And eventually they hired me on as a camera woman. So then I started being the camera woman for a lot of reporters, going out on stories, everything from, oh my goodness, I remember going on a hostage taking story. I remember doing weather, court again, crime, all kinds of different stories, fun stories too, skiing up north and things like that. And then the program director said to me, listen, kiddo, we've got 5 minutes we need to fill in between a soap opera. We don't know what we want to do with it, but if we gave you that 5 minutes, do you think you could fill it with something? And I was like, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. And I went home and I was like, what do you do? And remember, oh, well, and what do you do? So I was like, okay, it's in the middle of a soap opera. I am going to email one of those guys in the back of the magazines that says it's the soap opera in the back of the soap opera digest. And I'm going to get people to email in their questions. I'm going to send the questions to him. And then we're going to have a talk about it for 5 minutes. We're going to talk about the storyline and the plot of the soap. So they're like, okay, boom, that's what we're going to do. And they said, but where are you going to do this? I was like, I don't know. So I went and talked to the maintenance man, and he said, we've got this old makeup room in the back garage by the trucks, by where the exhaust comes out of the big truck. And I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Like, you can have that room. You can do whatever you want. I go in and it's filled with old paint cans and old boxes. So after my shift, I stayed and I cleaned out the room. And I went back to my maintenance guy and I was like, do you have any paint? He's like, I got this old purple paint you can have. I'm like, purple, perfect. Great. Stayed up, painted all the walls purple and put like some kind of silver. It was terrible. I found a ceramic cat in the back from someone's old set thing. That became my co-host. Boom, we were on air. And one of the girls, we were trying to think of what a name would be for the show. And I remember this girl, I can't remember her name now, but she leaned out of her office and she said, I know, because it's in the middle of a soap opera, we'll call it Lather Up with Cheryl Hickey. And I was like, no. And then the news director, the program director was like, yes. And my dad was so angry. He was like, really? This is your first time on air and this is the program you have? He was so disappointed. But I will say, this program went on for, even after I left, it was going on for a few years. And it was the first kind of thing of its kind. Like now there's lots of after shows and all kinds of things like that. But we kind of, me and the cat, we kind of did it originally there. And it was really fun. It was really innocent and just learning to ad lib. That's where I kind of got the gift for the ad lib.